Hi guys.
Hello.
That was so funny. Someone left and then came back.
Yeah,
But
no, there it is. Because you know how we're filming on Zoom, and so I get always be when she's like recording, right? I get notified um from Zoom saying that the person's recording. Like I could either accept it or obviously like leave it, right? And so like we were getting ready to film, and then I accidentally clicked leave meeting instead. So everything was just hilarious because Ariel was in the middle of just saying, "Hey guys," and then like boop, she's
yeah, I was
gone.
like, oh, okay. I guess we don't have an episode this week. Um,
She's gone. Deuces.
yeah, no. But welcome back to Untitled.
Yes, so welcome back to episode 100.
No, for real. Um,
Well, you're going to see 100 episodes, but
you
welcome
know,
back. Thank
that'll
you.
be exciting though, the days that we get to like 100
Or
episodes.
even like close to 10. I feel like for 10, we should do something. All right. Are we close to 10?
Yeah.
It should be like,
I think we're really close. Like, I think this is episode 8, right?
yes, this is episode 9, like right now.
Oh, okay. So
We should
next week
do
will be,
something
yeah, we should do something
for our
because
10th
we've been
episode.
consistent.
Or even for our 10th follower, we could do something.
Yeah, our 10th follower will do something.
All right. You
Oh.
see, you just repeating what I say.
No, I'm repeating it because I'm like, okay, I'm in the same sync. I get what she's saying. But
But welcome back.
ooh,
Any news today?
um,
Other than, the glorious day of Trump being indicted, the arraignment and everything was hilarious to see him walk. It was like a short perp walk.
you
Not even
know,
a perp walk. It was just him walking. But the funny thing was, because I was watching it earlier, and and so like I guess like the Secret Service, like the cop that was in front of him didn't hold the door for him. So it kind of like slammed, like it closed into his shoulder and he had to like open it himself. And like obviously it was like a big thing because even like the news reporters were just like talking about it too, and just like saying, yeah, he looks sad. Oh yeah, did you see the cop who didn't hold the door for him and whatnot? And he had to open the door by himself. And like his very first time doing that and whatnot. It was just hilarious.
he knew
But the
he
whole
was,
thing, just like with the whole Trump thing, is just hilarious in itself. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
just hilarious. Like people like it's like one thing that just like bothers me is I'm like watching like Hassan's like Twitch like after speaking, right? No, just like earlier, like when he was like doing like when he was covering, right? Where it was just like some of these politicians who were like who'd speak out like saying that this is like such a bad thing to happen, and just like this like he was just like they were saying that like how how this right here is it will put a shame on our democracy, like like for the system itself and all that. It's just like this right here is just making a mockery of it and everything. I'm just like, what? And I'm just like all the other countless things. This right here is the biggest one. Like all the things that's been happening right now. Literally, Ron DeSantis, I seen on news. He's literally like he literally signed there's a bill coming there's a bill in Florida, right? In Florida, there's like a bill coming July 1st where literally any citizen can carry a gun without having a permit or having any background checks. And this is what they're so worried about. This Donald Trump doing like getting indicted for like the most minor fraud, like something very, very, small and minor, right? For like misdemeanors, right? And then TikTok. I mean, otherwise we have, literal kids being shot up in school every single day, and this is what they care about. I'm just like, make it make sense. Like, whenever I just hear about them, I'm just like, what are you guys talking about? You have literally people who are dying from the hands of cops. And it's like, it's because what a billionaire is being indicted on charges that he himself set out to do. It's like, what? You have other bigger problems in the world other than this, you know what I mean? But it's funny because, like he will get, like a mugshot and whatnot. So that'll be plastered around. So I'm waiting for that so I can
right?
laugh.
I
I
wonder what
literally like
orange face looks like.
It's like literally like I'm sitting downstairs with my mom, like watching the news, and we're just like laughing because we're just like laughing at Trump. She's just laughing. She's like, I'm just laughing. We're just laughing together as we're watching the news about Trump and whatnot. But I swear, it's just that I didn't get to watch his little speech thingy at Mar-a-Lago that was happening, but I'll watch it later, but it's just so funny, like like this, people are even like comparing it because like people are just so scared, right? Because it's like like people us in New York and whatnot, right? And they were thinking that another January 6th was going to happen, right? And we're just like, no, it's not like like he doesn't have as much of like
his
It's just not the same. You know what I mean? Like he was in office during that time. He had like like it was greater during that time. It's like now it's not the same. It's not equivalent to like what's happening now too as
you know,
well. But people were like people were so scared and whatnot for his safety because like he was telling his people to like go out and protest, but the people who were like mainly protesting were people who were like anti-Trump supporters, right? And they were just like saying Donald Trump can suck a dick. Donald Trump, and it's like they're just like saying all this out loud. It was hilarious. And then you have people who were also comparing this, people who were like worried for his safety, right? Because they're just like, like around this time, Martin Luther King got assassinated. April 4th, Martin Luther King got assassinated. You never know what could happen. And now today, April 4th, Donald Trump's getting indicted. It's like bye, 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 bye. But
it's not
it's just
even
so funny how
close to being similar.
it's just so funny how people are just like saying like this is like the worst thing that like we can do as a democracy, like how this just proves that the system is just corrupt. I'm like, what? It's like, what? This just proves that you guys believe that rich people are above the law. So when rich people actually, like exactly getting indicted for like crimes and whatnot, it's like you're just like, whoa, I didn't think that this system that was set up for me will actually like come against me like this. You know what I mean? You guys go ahead and watch you guys go ahead and watch. You know what I mean? It's like no one should be above the law. Doesn't care, even God. Sorry, I'm not religious. Like, but no one's above the law. You know what I mean?
And I
But
think especially with like how like taxes went this year, like a lot of people were shocked because it's like we like tax returns usually is something like people are excited about.
looking forward to, but like
Yeah, and
no.
this year it's like it was a bit more shocking on like obviously I don't know the whole economics parts of it, but
Mhm.
it was definitely disappointing like for most people, especially when
Did you
you're
file your taxes yet?
yeah, I did, and it was disappointing.
Same thing too.
It like
I'm
I
still
put
waiting for mine. I filed back in February 4th.
I'd have I got my quote back
And
already.
it's not even huge. I'm just like, why are you holding on to this money? You're acting like you guys are
Exactly.
giving me $1 million.
It's changed
You
for you
guys
guys.
like, what are you doing here? It's like last year was great because like, cause I seen something when I was first filing. That's why I even told you, right? I remember I told you. Remember you had told me you were just like, yeah, my coworker said that I should be looking at like 3,000 or something like that. And I was just like, I don't want to burst Emery's bubble, but it's like I'm gonna burst it because it's like I thought I was gonna be getting the same thing too from like what I had last year, right? It was gonna like help me tremendously, you know? And I was just like, oh, Emery.
It's not even close. Oh my God. It was the most like, disappointing thing because my mom told me, right? Like she was like, this is how much you're getting. And I was like, you're kidding. And she was like, no. I was like, what?
It's because some laws were because supposedly like I read it like it was like the first thing that happened like that was like popped up on my Google feed where like laws were like there were laws that were like literally implemented literally January 1st, 2023, like surrounding taxes and it's how like they're gonna be cutting taxes and whatnot, like and not giving as much money as they did last year, right? When it came to taxes, like they just had like because we're like, like I mean I still had a lot because like like COVID and whatnot, right? But like they were just like making sure that this year just not getting as much money. So I was just like, you bullshit. Piece of shit. I was just like, what? For what? Yeah, then you have people who are freaking millionaires and whatnot, billionaires who literally paid nothing. It's like I'm over
Literally,
here, I like because funny because it's like like my pay went up, right? You know what I mean? I was telling you like how like like my pay went up. It was only by like $1,000, but it's like, yeah, that makes such a big difference in like how much I owe in taxes and how much I get back. I'm just like, you're acting like I make a lot right here. You know what I mean? It's like you're taking away literally everything. You're taking away everything right now, IRS. What you doing? What are you doing, IRS? What are you doing? I'm just like, that's what I hate. And it's like, yeah, people who just like who are like Donald Trump who doesn't want to pay nothing and whatnot, and like how I think it was like 2020, whatever, like people who are like filthy rich and whatnot, like I think Donald Trump passed the law. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm regurgitating what I heard online. It was like he passed a law something that like tax cuts for like people who are rich and whatnot, like how like they didn't have to pay like a lot of taxes or something like that, so it helped them too, And I think that bill or something like is still implemented, but everyone sucks. Any president I had yet to have a president that's on my side right next to me.
yeah, no, that's another
Even Biden sucks.
that's 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 another conversation. It's interesting because I want to ask one of if I get back on the app or not. But I just want to ask because I'm curious about perspectives on like leftist thinking and stuff. But I'll send you one of the people that uh he recommended to me to like listen to because I was like, there's Hassan, but I also want to like know more about left
Right.
ideology. And also it's like the other creator that well, it's like a podcast too, right? The way that they talk about it is like they make jokes kind of like how Hassan is. Like it's similar format actually. Like they talk about what's on the news and then they'll break it down and then like make jokes and stuff.
Right.
But they'll also inform their viewership about it. But it's interesting because I feel like liberalism is not enough to
Mm-hmm.
get any like fundamental change in the system.
It's
I
no, because it's like even with liberalism, it's like it scares the hell out of people on the freaking right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like because then you're just being
It's not that big though. That's the thing.
it's not that big, and it's just like that thing where it's just like that right there in their eyes is just being woke. You know what I mean? But it's like the dangers of wokeness. You know what I mean? It's like you have all these laws and like like when it comes to just like oh like we're just like pushing an agenda, just like being woke. You know what I mean? It's like, but it's a hard thing. It's not that big, but it's just like it's for sure one thing that frightens the other side. Who just like obviously does agree with that, like conservatives. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
like one thing that I have learned through like watching like leftist people talk about like different topics, right? Is like a lot of people talk from experience, right? Like when they talk about politics, it's very like, especially with the race,
Anecdotal.
it's very experiential. Like when you specifically with Black culture and like any other ethnicity, right? It's you're experiencing that race because of like your day-to-day life. Like you're literally you can't avoid talking about it because that's what you live through. But then also you can see fundamentally through other like stats and stuff, right? That it's your experience is also being validated through the system. So I think a huge part of like politics, and especially from like a Black perspective, right, is you're gaslit to think that your experience is like only social, but not fundamentally systemic as well. So it's like
100%.
so a lot of like, especially when you're I feel like watching people debate and all these debate lords, because I went through like a little pipeline where I was like watching like Destiny for a little bit, just watching the debates, right? That he was having, right? And like I realized that the way that they debate is like statistically, like they'll bring up these random ass statistics and stuff like that, which is great because you have something to back up your talking point, right? But one thing that's very like hard for me to like separate at times, right, is that the experiences will always coincide with the reality of the system. Like
Right.
all the people in like, and the funny thing is like a lot of these experiences, right, are not old or like centuries or archaic, right? Where it's like we're archaeologists digging up things from 4000 BC. It didn't happen that long ago. So a lot of our like a lot of these people still are alive today. Like not sure about slaves, but definitely their descendants, but like their immediate descendants. But it's interesting because I'm like, the way that politics is so like an
Messy.
imaginary person, right? An imaginary everyday person, right? But everyday people are telling you exactly what they want. I kind of left the race thing, but everyday people are telling you exactly what they want. And you are not even like, they're not even listening. Like that's the
That's what like
it's like they don't listen. People are
mhm.
telling you, get rid of freaking student debt, right? Like raise the minimum wage. Why is everyone struggling? Like that's another thing. Why is everyone struggling?
For their own personal
Yeah,
gain,
basic necessities.
That's why like to me it's just like when I was just like looking at these broadcasts, right? And it's like half of them just saying in their mouth, and it's like people really believe this shit. You know what I mean? It's like people believe what they're saying. You know what I mean? It was just like talking about just like this is like the worst day in the world, like the world is sad and all these things because it's like our democracy is falling apart because of this one situation. I'm just like, what? Like you said, you have experiences, like people talk about like all these things. You have all these other things that can, you know, and they can like, look at, right? But it's just like in their head, they just like wire up to something else. You know what I mean? You can like you can present them all the facts and everything lined up too, right? It's like you can present them statistics, right? But it's like they'll look at that one little tiny statistic that like like will possibly like disprove everything rather than like looking at the bigger picture too, which blows my mind as well. But it's like nothing blows my mind is like people just like actually believe in this thing. I mean, like they actually believe what they're saying. When it's just like it's just literally just against everything. It's like when you have like literally like you have concrete examples of things that are just like more blatantly disrespectful towards democracy versus Trump getting freaking arrested. I mean, it's like, are you serious? Are you really weighing that to all these other things that people can provide you? You know what I mean? And it's like okay, yes, so there's a political agenda, but it's like we all know that's it's still gonna benefit, Trump in the end, right? Because it's like to his supporters, he seems like he's the victim. You know what I mean? And so it's like obviously like like that's gonna help him more. And it's like he knows what he's doing too. Supposedly like he had the option of doing the arraignment online as well versus like in broad daylight. But he was just like, no, we have to show people, we have to show the people what they're doing to me. If they're doing it just to me, then they can do it to anyone else as well, too. It's like, sir, it's just because rich people can get away with doing bad things. You know what I mean? And it's like they're able to do bad things. And so it's like obviously it's like you're the first person, obviously that's like broadcasted because it's like, it's freaking Donald Trump. I'm not saying president either because he's not fucking president. He never was. He was Donald, Donnie, Damantha. But anyways, but I'm just like, no, it's just crazy. It's for sure crazy thing. We can talk about politics like later time because it's like it's for sure crazy. It's for sure like
it's definitely. I'm like, let's save. I feel like our politics episode will be a really good one. Channeling our inner
low.
Right. No, for real. The ones who know. The ones you know.
Our inner Tetlow, and then we're bringing up. I don't think you had him, but I'm like I'm gonna bring my Alda, Mr. Alda, coming because he taught me statistics and whatnot, like all that. So it's like I'm bringing him in a little bit, But for sure, Tetlow, because she that bit.
No, for real.
Shout out to Tetlow. Well, yeah, it's just a crazy thing. Like that's what I was like doing all day. But also, I recently started I don't know, something about me is like if someone out there can tell me why I can never finish TV shows unless it's like the most like captivating, just like I just cannot like like stop watching this. You know what I mean? Like I started like Extraordinary Woo, you know what I mean? And I stopped watching that. Like I stopped watching that. Mine was like a good show too. I was in it for a very long time, right? And now I'm watching my laptop's like right here. I can see. I'm watching Girl from Nowhere now. You know what I mean? It was popular a while back, but I didn't like care for it a while back. You know what I mean? But I'm watching that now, and it's also crazy.
Drama or like a regular?
It's a Thai K-drama, actually.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
What is this one about?
It's about a girl who like transfers schools, but it's like within these schools, she's kind of like exposing the truth of like people and just like of like anything that just goes wrong or just like people are just doing misdeeds or whatever. Like the very first episode, spoilers, obviously, spoilers. If you're gonna watch it, I don't know if you're gonna watch it, but
it was seen like clips of this. Maybe.
Okay, but it was like the first episode. Well, it was just like a teacher basically was canoodling with the students, and so that's when she jumped in and like she found an opportunity to like kind of like get close to the teacher, and so obviously like the teacher was feeling her as well, and so then that's when like she kept telling him just like, are you sure you want to do this, like are you sure you have a wife and kids at home and whatnot, right, and all these things, that episode, because it's like it's not cohesive, right? It's like what happens in this first episode, what's not gonna happen in the second episode is kind of like she transfers schools and like the whole episode starts, you know what I mean? It's like new characters, whatever, at a new school. Mm-hmm. Basically. And so it's like that first episode happened, it literally ended so badly where it was like his daughter died. It It was the most random episode. It was like that's what they came out was like a first banger. And so she was just like threatening him and whatnot, right? You know, like all these other things. But for sure, watch it. I'm watching. There's 2 seasons too, so I think I'm like in something. Don't know where I'm at when it comes to episodes, but I'm thinking probably my third episode, I think. But it's for sure crazy, you know. It's not that bad too, because like she's basically doing like God's work. You want to say it like that, or just like she's being the hero.
She's the karma, the karmatic.
Basically, she is their karma, basically. So
That's
yeah,
interesting.
that's what that one is. So it's like I'm watching that now, but I don't know how long I'm gonna watch that because I get bored really fast of certain things. I get bored really, really, really fast. But I'm hoping that I can watch this. I mean, like I have not finished a show in a very long time. It's like I know there's probably like a million things that I could watch right now, but like today I'm just like I have nothing to watch. You know what I mean? It's like and I can't say I watched every single thing either because I know I haven't. Like I can return back to some freaking anime too and never finish watching that.
No.
I don't know. It's like my brain cell's just not in it. You know? It's like
Like my theory is like I just don't want to see the last episode. That's why. Like it's the like getting attached to the show and like the characters and then it being over. Like you don't have another episode. So I'm like holding out until but then it's like, girl, you're holding out episode 5. Like keep going at least if you're gonna hold out. But
right. No, I just feel like I just get bored. I'm just like, oh, it's just not it. It's not spicy enough. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like it's just not spicy right now for me. So this one's kind of spicy. So I'm just like, oh, what's she doing now? Like I'm like, what's she like? I'm like, ooh, what's their karma right now? You know what I mean? Because I'm just like, because it could be like innocent people in the beginning of the show. I'm just like, what's gonna happen now? Like, what bad deed are they gonna do? For her, like for them to get karma? Because obviously, like they're main characters of this episode. I'm like, what they gotta do now? I'm just like, okay. And after like they do the bad thing, whatever. Just like, oh, so what she got in store for them right now? Like, what's she gonna do? I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? Like that's how it kind of is. Just like, what about these people? What they do? And it's like, what's she gonna do to them? So it's like that has me like going basically. But yeah, Anne Marie, how's your sex life?
oh wow. Um not it right now. It's so interesting because I literally become a virgin.
Oh, that's
I
why
was
she's in white.
huh?
That's why she's in white, guys. She's pure. That's why you're in white.
Yeah, no, for real.
Pure with no bra on.
Yeah, no. Like, what is the point of wearing white then? But
She's a little naughty. She's not the angel.
a little crooked. It's a little crooked. But it's funny though because like I have this theory is like I only become
Another theory.
a theory. I have so many
a
theories
theory,
about my
a theory
life.
for
We don't know if
everything.
they're proven or not. They're just theories. You
Yes,
know,
theory.
it's hypothetical. We don't know. But
What's the
like
theory?
in the summertime is when I'm the most sexually active, and then the rest of the year it's hibernation. So, but
I think
I
back to last summer, end of last summer.
oh my gosh, that was a great that like even though the situation of it all, it was a great experience. I had a great time. Shout out to you. You know who you are. But one thing I did realize though is like,
Oh, there it is.
what's that? See?
Look at my entire hand.
I see. Yeah, be doing that to me. But also, you need so many more letters to know who that was. But it's so crazy because I never like reached out to him because I was scared.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, it was like a tricky thing too, It was
yeah,
like
it was a very tricky thing, and he was in a tricky thing. So I was like,
right. It was like let's not be a tricky
yeah.
person.
But one thing though that I did realize from that experience was like be with someone who makes you comfortable, even if you and like be with someone who will like take their time with you, like isn't about to just like, you know, like I think that there's little things that help with the anticipation of it all and like making you more comfortable downstairs as well as just like with the situation as well. Cause like I would call myself a late bloomer, but at the
Oh
same
wow. I'm kidding.
time, I would not call myself a late bloomer because I feel like I was kind of in the same when everyone else was doing stuff, I was also doing stuff. So I'm not a
Oh,
late
what were you doing, huh? Oh, a little bit of
but
fellatio.
I think that like definitely is for like for girls. And I think this for everyone, like be with people who make you feel comfortable and don't do anything you don't feel comfortable with doing. Like I'm a crazy person. So some my limits are let's not talk about my limits. But at the same time, like
Mm.
just do what you feel comfortable with in the moment. Because I feel like a lot of the time it's like you're almost whisked away. But then if you're uncomfortable, you're very conscious of what is happening.
Oh, 100%.
And it makes it even worse because it's like when looking back at some of my memories, I'm like, oh, like not necessarily because of the guy, but because I was uncomfortable and I wasn't speaking up for myself and like
We don't want
saying
that.
what I needed in the moment. And I think it was also because at the time, like a lot younger than I am now, and I was very inexperienced. So I thought certain things were okay that were not okay in the sense of also like making sure I was also getting pleasure out of the experience too.
All right. It's like going back to just like being comfortable too. It's just like it's super. Well, I wouldn't say I've had an uncomfortable person yet. Kind of was more so just like for me. It's like what I've learned throughout my experiences or experience. You don't know which one. Be 1, 5, 10, 100. Never know. But it's like one. One thing I've learned is just like because like right now it's like I'm also a virgin too, right? We're both virgins, right? After I just said all of that.
Yeah, five, 10, 100.
Right? But it's just like I know because like, I was already thinking back, just like when was the last time I felt good? You know what I mean? Where it's like I felt like it's like nice in bed, or just like I just felt good. You know what I mean? Just like it was a very long time. It was just like surprisingly, it was from my ex, right? And the person who followed after. I'm just like, what happened after that? I'm just like, oh, the other guys, what happened? I'm just like, what's going on? It's because it's like because it's like like how like when you're in your period, right? You just get super horny, right? You just get super, 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 super horny, and sometimes like that just clogs your entire brain, your entire body, and your body's literally on just like beast mode at this point, right? So it's like I've had kind of opportunities where I'm just beast mode, right? So it's like it has led me to just like going on apps and whatnot, right? And it's like thinking that I, want this person, you know what I mean? But it's like, or just like I'm attracted to this person, blah blah. And it's like I just was not, you know what I mean? It's like like how your body knows more than you let it, you know what I mean?
Right.
So during these encounters with these guys, it's like the girl was dried up down there. So it was like it made the experience like 10 times worse because it's like I led myself thinking because I just wanted this so bad. I wanted this moment so badly, right? 'Cause it's been so long, right? To think that like, like I basically just like I like this person. I'm attracted to this person. When it's like in reality, I was not whatsoever. And like my body would tell me that during that moment too. Cause it's like even that moment, it's like dried up as a beast, it's like dried up as the Sahara Desert. And so it's like when you're dried up down there too, what is it? A painful experience. You know what I mean? So it's like I was just not feeling it. So it's like I went to leave so many times. But it's like there's so many times where it's like in moments like that where I would just like dissociate myself from everything. It's just like it was just not it. It was just not it. Like my last experience, the experience before, it was just not it whatsoever. So for sure, it's just like because right now I'm on like the next person who I encounter. Right, it's like I was telling Emery, it's like I really want them to be, my person, my significant other. You know what I mean? Because it's like I want emotions attached to this. You know what I mean? It's like I just can't go into this just like being attracted to you or thinking I'm attracted to you just so ever because like that's not gonna lead me to anything else. Especially because like nowadays guys don't know how to fuck. Let's be real. Guys don't know how to fuck right now at all. And obviously, like the part, like you like people just like, okay, then it's like, then tell him what he's doing, and whatnot, right? It's like for as old as you, I mean, like age has no like no, like age doesn't play a problem. It's like sometimes if you're that fucking old, then it's like, what the fuck have you been doing your entire 50 years? You know what I mean? Not saying now I'm later, but 50 years old, but it's like, like what have you been doing? And the thing we're just like, because I'm not enjoying this moment anymore right now. So it's like, I'm not about to tell you what I like if I don't like it regardless. You know what I mean? If I know I don't want to be here right now, so I'm not about to tell you what you should do. I mean, like I could for the next person too, right? But I'm thinking about me right now. And it's like, part of me just don't want to be here right now. And I could obviously just leave, but it's like,
That's
it's
charity work
it's
too.
it's for sure just like I don't know, it's like a thing. I'm just like what the hell are you doing right now? It's like it's been a thing where like guys are just playing the freaking DJ on you down there, and just like this is old. This is old, but it's like it's still so relevant, so new and fresh with every single guy. It's just like, what the hell have you learned so far? Nothing. Nothing at all. You have learned fucking nothing. All the countless memes, all the countless stories and everything like that, TikToks, and it's just like, what the fuck have you learned? It's like
No,
you're literally watching this and saying, nope,
you're
not me. I don't got a finger like that. No, sir. Yes, you do. So you better watch that video of that girl explaining herself about like how to actually, properly touch a girl down there. Because right now you got some fucking claws on you. You're literally gonna chop my damn clit off. Literally, you're gonna cut that shit out. It's gonna be dangling. I'm gonna be able to pick that shit up because you're going so hard. I'm gonna be able to pick that shit up and put it in my pocket and head the fuck out. That's what it's leading to, Amory. It's just that bad. It's like at that point, I'm just like this. I grab their hand. I'm just like this. You know what? Just move yourself. That's all I can do. I'm just like, it's just I can't do anything. I'm just
it's
like
like
this.
it's like I'm gonna touch your hair when I say this.
Exactly. It's like, I'm just like, yeah, that's good. And I just move their hands like, and just be like, and I'm just like, oh, it's not. And it's like, just keep it there for now. Keep your hand on yourself right now. COVID, sir, COVID. Can't do this right now. So it's like that's the most I can do. It's like, it's like, but it's like also that thing. I'm just like, I don't want to like. It's like right now. It's like I don't want to hurt a guy's ego. You know what I mean? It's like at this point, like I have to. It's like I have to, and I think it's for sure important if I do for myself like go in a situation where it's like the next person I'm with is not my significant other, and it's like I have to at least know their like like their sex background a little bit. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
think that's for sure important. You know what I mean?
that'll help a lot with like
Because
being able to move forward with them and like
because like no way in hell can I encounter someone again that I'm their second body or something, or like the first. And it's like, no way in hell. Like there's nothing bad with that, right? But it's just like at least tell me beforehand. It's like there's nothing bad with that too, right? It's like being a virgin or just like not, like doing it for so long because you've had one partner your entire life. There's nothing bad with that at all. But it's just like if the situation's kind of like leading into that a little bit, it's like just a little bit honest with me. So it's like I know what to expect, because like I'll have my own expectations too, by the way that we're conversing about the situation when it's like you're not being fully open about like, that. Like if I can't suck dick, I'm gonna tell you, I don't know how to suck dick. I'm not about to fake it either. Just like me, just like playing around with it as if it's a lollipop, I'm not about to do that either. But it's just like just be a little bit honest, But it's like it's time that we teach you guys how to fuck.
I think it's definitely interesting right now because like I think a lot of guys are without long-term partners for a lot of guys are like weirdly enough like going through their single periods but like not actively doing anything with a lot of people. Like apparently statistically like men are the loneliest they've ever been right now.
Yeah, I think you told me that too. You told me that? Or did I see it somewhere? You think
I
you
feel
told me that
like
already?
it was on TikTok for a while. Like I remember it was circulating on there.
I think I've seen it.
It's interesting though, because like I feel like a lot of people like think they know what they're doing through corn, right? And it's not actually going
Sorry.
it's
The
not doing
corn
what
threw me off. The corn threw me off. Like we're on
I
TikTok.
don't want to I didn't want to just throw it out there to you, like give it to you raw, like
Like the corn.
corn the cob. But but at the same time, it's like I think that we as women have to be more honest to them because it's getting to the point where I feel like a lot of people it's becoming like commonplace for a lot of people to be having negative experiences. Like apparently like a I think it was like I don't know if it was the millennial generation or what, but a
They
lot
didn't
of
know how to fuck either.
women didn't think that they were
I was like, they didn't know how to fuck either.
no, well no, they didn't know that they were supposed to be orgasming as well, like with their partner or like at all. They didn't think that that was a real thing.
Imagine going through life not being able to orgasm with your partner.
That's terrifying. Terrifying existence,
So I'm just like, we need to teach these guys how to fucking fuck at this point.
you
It's
know.
like also just like, like self-love and just like, like, satisfying your flesh is a thing, But like, oh hell no. Like, oh hell no. That's what I'm just like saying. Like, I know I'd be more vocal with like my significant other, because it's like we're in this together. It's like we're not about to be dating. You don't know how to fuck me. You know what I mean? And so obviously like like I'm hoping that he can be like, a little bit more vocal and like his needs too.
Right.
I'm just like, just imagine that. People not knowing that. I'm just like,
And I think
what
it's
the hell porn? What were they watching on porn?
but also it's like in a way that's what like the male viewership is like thinking about like their satisfaction because they see these like crazy things happening, right? But they don't necessarily look at the female like porn star. They're looking at her more so as the object to facilitate the guy in the video. Like she's
Right.
not a person who
So what
has
you're saying is that all guys are gay.
not not saying that, but not also not saying that. Like I'm not saying that, but I'm also not saying that. But at the same time, it's interesting because like that perception ruins like sex for a lot of dudes. Like it really ruins
Right.
the perception of
If
what
the girl's having if and she's
like they
enjoying the
don't know
sex as
like
well.
like I don't really
Like you're feeling
understand.
good? Oh hell no, I gotta pull out. It's like
Like I think definitely you can also tell with like some guys who have been with like who've been single for a long time, right? And then guys who haven't been single for like there's a difference in like characteristics, but universally I think you like most women need partners who are willing and able to facilitate their own pleasure. Like it has to be a must. It can't be an if and. Like too many girls I think are facilitating men to like, make them feel good and then peace out, Girl Scout, like, and I think a huge thing our generation needs to do more is aftercare because I think a lot of guys, especially college hookup culture, is like emphasizing like literally like sleeping with people and multiple people at that, right? Passing around
right.
who knows what in the college dorms, but not taking care of their partners after. And that goes both ways. Like guys also need aftercare as well. Like and aftercare doesn't need to mean like you're, snuggling up to them, but let's say you guys get a little snack with each other after or even shower together after the fact. Have a little conversation because it normalizes the girl being a human being.
Right.
Because these are things that are like
Like I'm here too. I'm just not, like the whole. I'm not a whole.
exactly
I'm not a
like
pocket.
it doesn't it doesn't mean that now she's in love with you. Like she's not in love with you. She doesn't
Right.
be in love with you.
Like,
To
why can't I just get, like get one off too, just like you? You know what I mean? It's like
that,
that's a
and
thing
the funny
for
thing is,
us
girls
women
are
too.
more so like that. Yeah, girls are actually a
Exactly.
little bit better at it, to be honest.
Hmm.
Like, moving on to the next. So it's like it's interesting when like for a lot of people, it's like there's almost like I don't know if everyone will believe in this, but like soul ties, right? Of like when you're connected with different people that you sleep with, right? That person's baggage, like I remember after like me and he shall not be named ended things, right? I literally was like, I feel weird. No, I think it was after we had like a random, thing, guys. Random thing. But afterwards, I felt like my space was violated. Not necessarily because like I was like non-consenting or anything like that, but more so of like
Sorry.
that would be very scary.
I'm not.
Let's not laugh about the R
It
word.
just said like it was just like my face was violated. It was like not because I wasn't consensual or anything. It's like okay,
I feel like I worded that poorly, but I just felt weird in there, like
right.
my room, which is my safe space, especially like at the time, like my room was really like my safe spot, and it was like crushed by a hookup.
Oh, I'm
And,
sorry.
and it was interesting because I was like, I felt at the time, I was like, it was great, but it was like empty because this was someone I used to have like really strong feelings for, and now I don't. Even though still really,
Oh, just kidding. I was throwing up a
I was like, who's that?
I know what you're talking about, but I was just throwing
Yeah,
up, like
throw them off his trail. But
exactly. Fried
but
piece
it
of
was
great
definitely one
thing.
of those things where I was like, yeah, no, I feel weird because it wasn't a tie that was special in any shape or form. Like, and I think that it was interesting because the other tie that I had the most recent with, right? In a sense, that was similar, but it wasn't similar in the way that like I felt very, very good with myself. Like in a way, it didn't really have to do with him. I felt more so like I was accepting of myself compared to the time the hookup happened. I don't think I was in the same place mentally or like emotionally as well. But yeah, no, I think definitely be careful who you're sleeping with because another thing too, for you to know if it's a bad soul tie, you might get a UTI, a UTI or BV. If he gives you BV,
Have you ever had BV?
huh?
Have you ever
Oh,
had
no, I literally had
right now? I'm kidding.
no. But the first time I had sex ever, but it was um my cheeks hurt.
Just imagine you just having BV, right? Like,
as we're talking about this. Our little like what's it called? Sex health part of the podcast is like, guys, I have it too. I got you. I'm going through it right now. but, but no, when I had it, like I had a UTI and I had BV at the same time.
oh,
It was the most uncomfortable situation. And I was like, yeah, no, never again. And also it's just like practicing good, like making sure your partner especially practices good sexual hygiene.
what
Like
does BV? I don't think I've ever had it. So like what does that like feel like or anything? Like what are the
like
symptoms or things that you experienced?
it's like so basically it's the actual term is like bacterial vaginosis, I think. But you literally like you smell horrible. Like down there smells disgusting, rancid. Like you're having like your pee may hurt too. Your discharge may look very funky. Like you'll have those types of symptoms. And like I think just your vaginal area too may just hurt a little bit. Don't quote me on all of those symptoms. Those are some of mine. Um,
Right.
so definitely look it up too. But like those are some of the typical signs I think that people go through. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, definitely make sure.
No, but I don't know. I feel like for me, the only thing I've ever had was UTI, and oh my gosh, when I experienced it my very first time, like I went crazy. Especially because I think it was just like I think it was my very first time. It was in college, right? Freshman year. Yeah, freshman year that semester that I was there, right? So I remember I was at my ex's like dorm all the entire time, and like thankfully like his room was like right in front of the like bathroom, right? So I could just like literally go across. But it was like the most annoying thing ever because I just kept going back and forth, thinking that I had to pee. But it's like when I would like let it out, it was just like bloop, bloop. It was just like nothing, you know. It was like the worst thing ever. I remember it was like this one time too. I don't you guys remember it. It was like just a long time ago. It was before COVID happened, right? But it's like this is where we were let go basically, right? And I remember the person who I was talking to at the time. Remember that?
Yeah, I think I do.
Basketball.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I remember like I'm thinking this guy gave me HIV.
No, like
There's nothing worse. So it's like when you like experience some of these, like I had like a a freaking itchy vagina. I'm just like, what the hell is going on down here? Like I was so scared for like the longest, right? Because it's like I've only experienced UTIs too. So I'm just like searching up itchy vagina. What does that mean? And it says possible HIV. I'm like, oh fuck no. I was like, man, you gave me AIDS. I will be around you. I was so scared and so frantic. But thankfully it went away. But I'm just like, I cannot whatsoever. So it's like for sure, it's like I'm not gonna lie. It's like, you know, like I'm a little bit like unsafe sometimes, right? She's like, mm-hmm. So it's like I need to practice on that too, you know what I mean? Or it's like if I'm just gonna be, you know, like sleeping around, it's like let me just sleep around with my boyfriend or whatever, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Like,
But yeah, for sure, just like practicing some safe sex and you know, just like making sure like aftercare for sure is important too. Ladies, drink some water so you're able to pee afterwards too, you
oh
know what I
yeah.
mean? It's like we need to pee afterwards. Like if not, then the UTIs are gonna be creeping up on you, and it's not the best feeling in the world when you have to literally go to the bathroom every single time and you don't have to do the bathroom whatsoever. But I was gonna say, what was like your first impression on like sex in general? Like if you can like recall the very first time like it was even brought up, right? You know what I mean? It's like, what was your first impression of it?
Um, like it was interesting because like I definitely I feel like at my young age,
Were you horny?
oh for sure. Like even
Oh, you were 2-year-old super horny. Okay, okay. Sorry, your face.
my eye started getting stuck because of my latch. But goddamn no.
You're like, no.
um, but like I feel like for me it was like always a very positive. Yeah, it was pretty positive. But like I was already pretty boy crazy in a way. Like I was not boy crazy, but just like I was already very very interested in boys. So like
At what age did you
I,
become like interested in boys?
I feel like pretty young. Like I don't even know. Like hmm. Like my first crushes were in elementary school. So like I wasn't thinking about sex, obviously. Like I was probably thinking about like I don't know who you are type of thing, but I like your face type of like that type of like very, very like innocent like infatuation with someone. Um, but like I would say when it starts getting dirtier is like middle school. But
My
um
internet connection is unstable, just so you know.
mine?
Mine.
Okay. Um, but yeah, I think one thing for sure is like exposure, like when you get exposed to it, like it's like I was a bit scared because I was like, what is this stuff? Oh my gosh. Especially like I think it was like my cousin's house or something, and they had like I think it was like a porno or something. And then there was a random like two do you remember when it was like two girls, one cup?
That was my first thing too. I was just so curious about that as well. Like that was my very first impression of sex was just like I'm like, this is some dirty shit, right?
Yeah, I was
Like, who is doing this?
literally.
Not putting no cup for anyone. It's like it's that was for sure that. And I remember it was just like like I don't know if anyone else can like relate to like they have like the exact same like TV cable. It was just like Xfinity, whatever. I think it was we went through like a lot, right? Like a lot of things. It was like if you like scroll down like far enough, sometimes on X, sometimes like I used to like listen to like music through Xfinity, right? It'd be like further down, be like music choice, and it's like they'd be playing like depending on like what genre you're listening to, it'd be like hip hop or just like like pop, or, like 2000s pop, whatever. So like I'd click that sometimes too. I think there was just like further down or something like that. It was just like obviously when I'm searching for that, right, it'd be like some sex thing. I'm just like, whoa, I should not be here right now. I'm just like, I should not be looking at this. Like, why is this even like allowed like at like on at the broadcast on TV, right?
Right.
But it was just like, but for sure it was like the two girls in one cup. And I used to think that like growing up, like I remember what I thought what sex was, right? Because I thought like because I never like obviously it was in fourth grade. No one's not telling you nothing about that. Like you're not really in like a sex ed class, whatever. Like I didn't get into like sex ed class until like sixth grade, right? But it was like I remember fourth grade, where it was like my teacher would talk about like I had like this one teacher, right, before she had like left, right? Because she was like she got pregnant, right? I was just like, how do people get pregnant? I'm just like, what is that? And it's like, it's like so I thought the entire time like people get pregnant, right? Babies like are born or whatever, like are created by just like holding hands with your significant other. That's what I thought it was. Like if I were to hold hands with my husband, we had baby. That's what I thought it was like in freaking fourth grade. I remember specifically just like I don't know like what broke him. Just like, oh wow. What I thought back then was not true. I thought, you just hold hands with your significant other and like that was sex and that was you making the baby. Like me just being like and it wasn't, but for sure it was just like the two girls among cup that got like it got my curiosity pumping. You know what I mean? Because like once you like also like search that up, right? Because it's like you're like you see all these other things too, right? I obviously didn't like go clicking on it, right? But it was just like that like if you went back to this site, right, then it's just like, oh, here's a little wee wee. But I wasn't watching. I seen that, but like I didn't really have like Wi-Fi at the time, so it's like I couldn't really see it until like later on when it was a thing, when it wasn't a thing anymore. You know what I mean? Like it was like obviously when like people were talking about it, it's like, what are you guys talking about? What's two girls in one cup? It's like I pretend like I know, but I don't really know. You know what I mean? Like I just go along with the topic. And also later on, I'm just like, let me see what they're talking about here when they were talking about two girls in one cup. I'm like, oh, this is disgusting. I will not be partaking in this whatsoever. But it was for sure that it was like two girls in one cup. I'm just like, mm, not my thing whatsoever.
It's interesting though, because I feel like exposure leads you into like this curiosity, and like I feel like as you age as well, it's like it's less of like curiosity, but like you want to know, right? Like everyone starts talking about experiences and like what they're doing, right? And I remember it was like, I think it was like middle school, right? Like this is when like the whole boyfriend girlfriend thing starts to thrive. Like everybody wants one,
All
everyone,
right, everyone's having a boyfriend.
right? Like these little relationships, even though they're not really relationships, but like
At
they're
the time.
they're the first signs of intimacy. And I remember it's like at that time also it's like everyone's just having the little kiss, like nothing crazy until high school. I remember high school was when people started wilding. Everybody was doing some crazy stuff out there. And me personally, I was still like it was interesting because like as much as I hadn't like physically done anything yet, like I was still like being like, oh, like whoa, like you guys are crazy out here, like you guys are doing some stuff. But I remember it was like this like I also went to like Catholic high school, so like imagine that, like if people were saying like they're having sex too, the talk of the town, like. But one thing that I thought was interesting though was like there's everyone, like there was this huge time where people would be like, I'm not gonna give head, like that's insane.
Oh, I know things just
There's
like
this huge thing where people are
I
like,
literally
that's
like
disgusting, you're horrible if you do that, right?
I was
You
gonna say
all
the
get to
exact
college and whoa, Mother Mary
I
out
was
the
gonna say
door.
the exact same thing. Like I remember like I had friends specifically in high school where just like because we were this was like or 10th grade and up, right? 10th grade and up, like towards the end of 10th grade and whatnot, we're just like, you know, you can become a little bit more serious because it's like we're getting a little bit more older, we're close to 18, you know, and it's just like, you know, it's like we're gonna, just maybe somebody can experience something. I mean, I remember I had like this one friend specifically, she was just like, ew, I can't believe you're doing that, Doma. It's like, you're doing that? You're disgusting. And it's like, I'm like, now look at her now. I'm like, oh, is it still disgusting, huh? Well, like she would like say it's like I will never ever do that whatsoever. Like I can't believe you're doing that whatsoever. Like like ew. I'm just like even for a while, like when I like first, I'm not telling you what it was, but it's like when I started doing it, whatever, right? It was like I was even hesitant to tell her because it's like she had these comments and these statements beforehand. So I was just like, I'm not about to tell her this. She's gonna think I'm a hoe. I'm not gonna tell her whatever this is. I'm not about to tell her what I'm doing here. So I kept away from her for like the longest too. So I was just like, yeah, no, I'm not about to do this whatsoever. And when I told her, she thought I was a host still. She was like, ew, you're so disgusting. Like, I'll never ever do that. Like, that's disgusting. I was like, okay, now look at you. And then that's when she got her own boyfriend or whatever. And so, where you were just clowning on me. Like you do the same thing too. Like I think her story, whatever, whenever she told me about her boyfriend at the time, was just like worse than what I was doing. I'm just like, you was doing it in public. Come on. Make it make sense. You was groping this man in public right now. We can all see your hands beneath the damn table. I'm not saying that was what I was doing, whatever, or she was criticizing me for, but it was just like, like she had her own stories that I'm just like, you can't be judging here. You can't be judging here.
No, no, like literally, like in high school, I remember this one girl, like this was her boyfriend. So like, apparently it was a little rumor, and especially no one was doing anything to our knowledge, right? Like everyone was secretly hoes. That's my thing. Everyone was
Oh,
secretly doing crazy stuff.
the hoes in my school were younger. Can you believe that? Like they were like
I believe it
freaking
because there were girls
ninth grade and freaking 11th grade. They were some hoes back then. But continue.
But I remember me and Alexandra came back to my house, right? Alexandra, shout out to you. So we had we were having conversations about like sex, and like we were the most horny teenagers ever. Just in the way that we described like what we wanted to do and like all this stuff. And we were bitches in school who were like, oh my God, she did that. But it was so funny because when we came back, like it was when we came back to my house and we were talking about it and stuff. And I was like, that's so crazy because like I would do that shit. And we were both like, haha, we would do that shit. But it was one of those things where I think like that public shame, right? Was like where I feel like a lot of like pose and body count started to become like this huge thing, right? Of
Right.
different people, like not really letting us like, I guess like be sexually active and like exploring and stuff, which is what like at that age people were saying they're having like crazy amounts of bodies, which I don't think was true, but like some people sure, but there are a lot of people who I feel like was still very like new to all of it.
Right.
That's fine. And I think that like when you're going through your exploration with whomever and whenever, like don't feel that shame. I feel like for me, like even when I lost my lost my virginity.
Oh my gosh.
But
You
it's so
did?
funny because like
You
the
told us
way
you were a
like
virgin.
right. I am right now.
Oh wow. It works like that? I never knew.
It does.
Continue.
Like I felt anxious to tell a few people because it's like it wasn't like a significant other or like someone I was like deeply.
Mm,
So I
interesting.
was very scared to be like, but the funniest thing was like I feel like I had the right people at the time around me. Cause like I remember I came back and I was like telling everybody and they're like, yeah, you get it. Like go you. So I was glad. My immediate reaction was really good. Like I was around people who were accepting of me and stuff. Oh, why did it go blurry for a second? I don't know. But my like I feel like the counter I was a bit scared of was like my friends from high school. And like surprisingly, everybody else was trying to have their turnaround as well. So it's like
It's
I'm
like
glad.
the
Hmm?
minute college hits, like everyone's become like feral. You know what I mean?
For real. I
It's
think
just like something about like that college energy is like no one really cares. Like everyone's trying to like get the highest body count, like sleep with the most girls and whatnot, right? And like it's all of that, you know?
it's definitely a lot of that. And like I think one thing that I was glad too was like I wasn't afraid.
Why are you laughing?
I was I
Why are
wasn't
you
afraid
laughing?
to explore and like do different things and try new things with people. Because
Oh, BDSM. Okay.
that far. Like but I think it got me more comfortable with sex and the idea of it all because especially when I did lose my V card, I was like, I don't know what this is. Like I was very like shocked. Also because like the person who I was with had a very large package and it was scary. It was
No, you got a schlong. You got a schlong
like
dog.
imagine like literally your V card. Like it was the worst, like not the worst, but
Oh,
it was just like and college boys don't also have a lot of experience.
it's interesting because it's like I never really like put it into perspective because it's like for me honestly it was like my almost like my boyfriend and like my ex-boyfriend and like we tried a couple times here and there, you know, so it's like I wonder for you was it like that because you know like, it's like you know obviously like, the very first time couldn't be you know painful, right? So even if you've like broken your hymen, right? Like for me, like I broke my hymen, right? But it was like it was still painful, you know. So it's just like you know, but it's like I was with my partner at the time, so like you know, like patience was there, you know. Whereas you know, I feel like with some guys, sometimes like patience isn't there, and they just want to get it in. But it's like people also like some guys still do have like that idea when it comes to like virgins that they're tight down there. You know what I mean? Even though like full disclaimer, being tight down there is not a good thing. It is not a thing that like no. It's like if she's tight down there, then you know she's not it's not okay. It's not, when a girl tells you she's tight down there, it's like you know, it's not a good thing. You know, it's muscle, so it's shit's gonna close. You know, like I'm usually closing because it's like you know something down there is not you know like it's not going right. You know what I mean? So it's like if it's tight down there, then guys, you're doing something wrong, and girls, please leave. But anyways, so it's like interesting because it's like you know like was he patient? You know what I mean? Because it's like you know
It was
did he
definitely like
understand?
he was pretty understanding and like it was like we had to do multiple attempts. Like I was getting tired from
See,
like
that's I'm just like it's interesting. I'm just like for me, it was like multiple attempts too, you know. But it was like
yeah,
it was
it was
understandable because it was like both of our first times, and it's like we're significant others, you know. So it's like we had that patience for each other during that moment, where it's like it was someone out the random kind of or out the blue. I
yeah.
don't really talk to like that. Then it's like
I feel like one thing that I'm glad was like I I liked my experience overall. Like but it was definitely just it was a new feeling. Like you're literally like your whole being down there has changed like because of that experience and like good thing like when I needed to pee like he was like oh let me escort you there like so you feel comfortable blah 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 and like I was not expecting that because I was like all my friends are kind of assholes well not sorry to the guys I'm so sorry but like you know what I mean like I was not expecting that experience at all and also it's like in my mind I was like let me just make sure that I don't idealize something that isn't there as well
right.
but I was glad that I was like comfortable with the whole experience. And also also Mina was there. Well, she wasn't there.
He was like right there in the corner. Let me help.
um, she was in the building. But um like having that support system too, like being with someone who was able to make sure I was okay and like checking in on me too, like made the experience way better because like obviously it's like we can talk and like she can just ask me like, "Oh, is this good? Like, are you fine?" Like, that type of thing. Um, because right after like I started blossoming, I was doing everything. But um
She opened up her apps.
no for real. But but one thing that did help though was like well no, it didn't help because this is was my flag to know what type of experience I was getting myself into. He had like, do you remember the LED lights that everybody had in their
Oh
room?
yeah.
And he had a thing like his, yeah, it was a single room. Like he had his own room. And then his bed was placed right in front of the door that had a mirror on it.
So
So
you're watching
imagine
yourself.
what like the whole setup, I was like,
You're watching yourself, you little girl. Ooh.
no, it was like crazy because like there was points in time where I was like sitting and he was standing, sitting. That doesn't make any sense for visual context. But like it was definitely interesting. Like I remember I was like, when I'm more comfortable, I might hit your line. I'm kidding. But
It's like when you're more comfortable, but then you did all that.
exactly. But one thing like that I really think is important though is like be with people who like you feel that comfort with. Like it doesn't need to be like the safe space, but like for your body to feel safe because um it definitely it makes a huge difference because I don't think your first time has to be your significant other or like partner, but it should be with someone who respects you at least. Like someone
Mhm.
who's like making sure that you're okay. All of those things I feel like are so, so important. Um, but it's very interesting though, because like as someone who I feel like is curious out here in the world, right? Like I'm willing to try new things, but definitely for my future experiences with someone who I feel more connected to emotionally, because I think that you should want to explore and try new things in the bedroom, you know? But
Right.
make sure it's also with someone who's safe, you know? Like it's definitely it makes a large difference when it's in this like what's it called nurturing environment where it's like oh you can tell him like I don't feel comfortable with doing that or like oh we can try this or you know when you did that earlier that was really good type of thing.
Did you ever well for one what I want to say, right? I even like it's like my thing is like, when I talk about seven, it's like I came into the idea of just like I'm gonna lose it. My whole thing, my whole like schmuck whatever in high school is like I'm lose it to my husband. No way in hell. I'm gonna be a virgin my entire life until I lose it to my husband, you know? Lost that up real quick because that does not happen. But it's just like, it's like what we see like on television and whatnot, right? So it's like I had sort of like an idea of how I wanted to do it because it's like we know we've all been there. We've all read our smuts here and there. They go crazy. Our 1D smuts already.
One
Oh my
D.
gosh, I was on Wattpad like crazy. When I tell you for I'm not gonna put that out there, but
Yeah.
someone finds my old Wattpad and it's like, like oh my account. It's like, oh, but she's been reading. But yeah, so it's like, like I had this idea based on like smuts and just like movies and things like that, like like the corn too. It's like how I would want my first time to be, and it's like very different. Very, very different, because it's like, it's like in movies and whatnot, or just like even in smuts and whatnot, it's like it's all very like steamy, it's kind of just like, like one kiss on the shoulder or whatever. Or it's like I think of like smut and then I think of 50 Shades of Grey, you know what I mean?
Oh
I was
yeah.
just like, I need this moment. I need this moment. My very first time or sometime, I need this moment. I'm still longing for a moment just like that. You know what I mean? So I'm still longing for something just like that right now to this day. And it's like I have yet to have it too, right? But I'm just like, I'm just like, I can't even like remember the very first time. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, can you remember like the feels that you felt like the very first time? Because I can. It's like I can't whatsoever. I don't know if it's just me just again dissociating or whatever, but I cannot remember anything.
um I feel like I was very nervous. Like I had like a little bit of like those little like, I don't know what's about to happen butterflies. But at the same time, like I remember just like feeling a little like what was worse, like I was facing out into like
I look completely naked. Sorry.
I was facing out into like the street. So I was just like, I feel free. I don't know. I felt weak. I felt very like I don't know, like not a relief, or I don't know how to explain it, but I felt good. Like after I felt very empowered, I was like, we did that.
I don't think I felt that way. It was kind of just like, thank God it's done with. You know what I mean?
Oh damn.
It's like because it's like a part of me knew the reason why it's like not just like expose everything because it's like mind you we weren't together, mind you I also had Old Dominion too, like this is when I also had Old Dominion too as well, so like I would come and visit right whenever like the weekends or whatever. It was like I would literally skip classes, like I would skip like a literally I'll be there from like Friday night all the way up until like Wednesday, like if I didn't have an exam right. It's like that was I think I had an exam, but if I didn't have an exam that day, I would have been there for like probably like that entire week, you know, because like I would skip class like crazy. That was a crazy time. Like me skipping all those classes back to back to back, crazy. So in my head, I'm just like, I teach myself the material later. You know what I mean? It's like it is easy math because it's like it's freshman. I'm just like I'll do my stuff. And like none of these are like. So I knew at the time it's like none of these were. I still passed my classes, but it was like you know. Anyways, but but it's like the reason why I was just like, I think all this is over with because I remember we weren't together that summer. Like, we were seeing each other like here and there, like as friends, right? Solely as friends, right? And up until like my birthday, right? Because like the birthday is like leading into like the school year and whatnot, right? So it's like my birthday. It's like he texted me like you know like happy birthday, whatever. And it was just like with the heart, like a red heart. And I was just like, like I didn't get nothing like that the entire summer, right? Mind you, I wanted him the entire summer. It was like you know like blah blah blah, you know. And that's when we got back, like, you know, like he was talking, he wanted to get back. I was in the back of my head, I'm just like, I know why you want to get back, you know. I'm just like, you want the punani, you know what I mean? Because otherwise, like, he would have been a virgin going into college, you know what I mean? Like, with no experience. And so, obviously, like, that could be a tricky thing with someone who's like ugly as him. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh my god.
Just kidding. It was just like, obviously, it could be tricky, you know? It's like, not like being like, you know, he isn't the I'd say he isn't the most he wasn't the most confident at the time, you know what I mean? So it's just like, you know, like and if everyone else is like doing it too, it's like why can't you know I want to be on that exact same like wavelength as well and whatnot, right? So it's like I was just like I knew part of me was like it was either I manifested him back into my life or you know he really just wanted me for sex. At the meantime it was like you know using the relationship as you know like a little thing. So I was like I think God is over because we tried way back then or whatever in high school, painful as hell. I was like, ew, no. But I was gonna ask, did you ever receive the talk from your mommy or your parents at all?
We never like it was interesting because like I had really chill uncle and aunt, right? When I was like in elementary school. And they were like, it was so funny because my cousins were in there and they were like, let's talk about the birds and the bees, right? And I understand, like I never really fully understood that conversation because everyone was joking and laughing, right? So I was just like, haha, the birds and the bees, you know? And my mom gave me a book. Like she was like, use a book and that will suffice. And it was interesting because what like we had this conversation, I think it was when I had BV and when I had UTI, right? And I didn't know what I had, but I needed to call somebody. I need to talk to someone, right? And like I think Mina wasn't there or something, right? So I was like, I had no one to talk to like at that specific time because I was like, I don't know what's happening to my body. I did some crazy stuff 2 days ago. What is happening, right? So I called my mom up and I'm just like, I don't know what's happening, blah, blah, blah. Like you would only be experiencing this if you had sex. So and deep silence on both ends of the phone. And then I was like, yeah. She was like, yeah, what? It was the yeah, what that threw me the heck off. She was like, just tell me. And she wanted me to say it. That was the part that I was like, you already fucking know. Just let it be. Don't let me admit it to you. But I remember when I was like, we were in the car ride back home. Like, she picked me up, like, this was like, I think a couple weeks after, but she was basically telling me, like, go to the medical center at our school and, like, they're going to give you the right stuff, update me, right? And, like, I already told her on the phone. I was like, yeah, I had sex, blah, blah, blah. Like, I was like whispering, but she was like, okay. She was like, we'll talk about this later. And then we had like it was already too late to have this conversation, but we were in
Right.
the car because like at the time she would always pick me up from school, like from college. And so we would just drive home for the weekend and I'd be home for the weekend. And I think we had scheduled me to be going home anyways. So she was like, why did you do it? Why did you do it? And I was like, because I liked him and like I just wanted to do it in the moment. Like I didn't have a good reason for her, right? And especially for her, it's like being promiscuous is not something that is like you should be proud of, like in their generation. So
Or just African parents.
African parents in general, like you are unchaste. Ah, like to this day, my dad doesn't know, and I want it to stay that way.
Hey
But
guys, let's send this to Emery's. Okay. Okay.
never do that, and he'll find out eventually, and he must have.
Like when you pop up with the baby. It's like, hey,
Right.
you have sex? Where does
Exactly.
kid come from?
Exactly. But like I've always been like, I guess in her eyes it was like I was never the I was never the type. So
Sorry.
like I was in Catholic
I
high
mean, she
school,
don't
like
have sex. No, 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 no. She don't do that
like
to you.
but like she was just like it was a bit of a shock to her. So she just wanted to like ask me more questions and she was like, you just need to be with someone who cares about you. Like
Like,
it's so interesting. She like got this very soft tone for like half of the ride. And then she was like, yeah, don't be having sex with just anyone. Right? She was just going on. And then she was like, but I'm glad you're safe. Now you know how to protect yourself, blah, blah, blah. And that's the most we've talked about it since then. We've kept it that way. But um it was interesting because like literally like I was never given a talk other than the one in like elementary school that was unserious. It was not a serious conversation about what's going on really. But at the same time, it's one of those things where I feel like because it's African parents, like you're not getting one.
oh
You're
no. It's like for me, it's like I didn't get a talk. More so it's just like I don't know why my mom at my young ass age thought that I was having sex. It was just like there's like certain times where I mean like it was just like at the time it was just like no. Like because you know how like, your body changes sometimes, right? So like like this one time I remember I missed because like we used to track we used to do our like the old fashioned way where it's just like we used to put our names on the calendar when we'd have calendars and whatnot, right? Like back home. Put our names on the calendar of like when we received like got our period, right? You know, like they used to like mark it down or whatever. I'd be like T-O, right? And so it's like if I didn't like do that, right, she'd be like, you get your period, you having sex, right? It'd be like no other reason, right? Mind you, this is, I can be like in middle school, early high school. This I'm just like, who do you think is putting a weeby in me right now? It's like, so I don't know why at that time she thought that we were just like so freaking horny, like sex crave or whatever. It's just like I don't know what was going on in her head in that time. It was just like she was just like on. Like we saw sure like shared our periods and whatnot. So it's like whenever anything didn't happen, right? So it's like kind of like a tangent, but it's like I'll bring it back or whatever. But it was like this one time where obviously because your body it's like it's not gonna like respond the entire time. You know what I mean? It's like I'll probably like get a day after, just like I won't see like until a couple weeks or whatever, right? I remember this one time I didn't get my period, right? I did not get my period, right? And I did not know why. Because my mom's over here asking for my period. I'm just like, I can't make it come out. I cannot make my period come out. But it's like I'm not doing anything bad. I'm not talking to anyone. It's like she had a suspicion. I'm just like, I'm talking to someone secretly and whatnot, right? And like things like that. So I remember she was like hounding me. It was like this was like obviously a traumatic moment, right? But it was like looking back at me, it's like this lady's crazy. You know what I mean? Like this lady is crazy, right? Or it was just like she was like hounding me. She was like, "Where's your period? I'll take you to the hospital right now. I'll see what's going on." Like basically like thinking that we're like like I'm pregnant, right? And it's like, no, I'm not pregnant. It's like if I was pregnant, it's like what? No. So I remember because I was just like so scared. I was just traumatic. I'm just laughing at it now because it was like 20. Think about it now. It was just like back then it was just not it was not it, right? Where I remember like, I was just so scared. I was like, take me to the hospital. It's like nothing's going on with me because it'd be embarrassing. You know what I mean? It's like it's embarrassing knowing that my mom's acting like this. It's like obviously it's like I knew nothing. I was pregnant, whatever. But it was like my period's just late, but it's just like I just didn't want to go to the hospital because like she's acting like this. You know what I mean? It's just like look at my period, right? So like, instead, I I guess I got a pad and I put ketchup on it. And I pretended that I got my period. That way I was like, mind you, I was on my period too, right? You myself, I'm just like, I'm not scared. I'm just like, I didn't do anything with the guy. Like, am I pregnant? I mean, like, I didn't do nothing. It's like, right, someone's touched, and like, it's like, am I pregnant? But I just like, it was like, when she like led me to believe I was like pregnant, it was like, I didn't get any talk about like sex or whatever. It was more so just like, it was like kind of through periods. You know what I mean? It was just like, if I don't have my period, it's like, I must be pregnant. If I'm pregnant, it's like, she's going to kick me away. Even like parents, like, I don't know if your parents did, my mom parents, it was like, if you're pregnant, then you're leaving. My mom was like, if you're pregnant, I'll kill you and that baby. You know what she said to me and whatnot. Like, I'm no. I'm gonna get pregnant because I don't want to die. You know what I mean? It was like to see it her in her perspective, it's like, it makes sense. It's like, like single mother, whatever, like doesn't want to take care of three. She's already struggling with 3 kids already. So it's like, imagine like another one. It's just outside of the race too, because like I'm still growing up, It was like never much of a talk whatsoever. It's kind of like she just used that as a talk, but like through other means, It was kind of like intensely. It was like, it was things here and there. I remember this one time. It was like, I feel like at this point she should know, but I'm also not gonna tell her either too. It's like she's gonna sing with the baby, and then with the baby she can make her own conclusions to how that baby got here. It didn't fly from the earth. It did not fly from the sky. A baby was in me. But anyways, it was this one time where it was like, I think it was just when this is before the whole Roe v. Wade thing came on. Like, it was like a whole thing, right? Because I know like my mom's pretty African, right? She's African, right? Where it's just like, it's like super strict over there. Like, there's like a lot of things that they like call like, like that they call abominations, right? So it's like, like she has her own mindset, but it's like, that's her, like nothing can change that, right? So she has her own like mindset with certain things, right? It's because of the way she grew up, right? And she's also pretty religious too, right? But I remember it was like this one time it was on a TV where it was something about like abortion. And I remember I think I made a comment about like, oh my gosh, abortion, whatever. It's like, I think I was just like just talking about it, right? Casually, right? It's like, I was like, oh my gosh, like no, And she's just like, abortion. Like she's like, she's against abortion, right? But it's like, like she's more like pro-life basically, and I'm usually pro-choice, right? I'm just like, I don't know what comment I made, but I was like, and she was just like, hope you better not be having abortions. I'm just like, for you, I was like, for you to only make a comment like that, like, I mean, you're basically assuming that I'm having sex right now. So I'm gonna assume that you think that I'm doing it right now. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like, so we don't have to have this talk or just like a talk. But it's like at this point, it's like there's no talk needed. So it's like it's pretty late in the game. It's like you should know what I'm doing sometimes, Right. But it's just like beforehand, it was just like, but it was never a talk at all whatsoever. It was mainly through periods and just like traumatic things. It was just like, if you don't have your period, that means you're pregnant. And if you're pregnant, then you're having sex. It's like, no, I'm 10 years old. So it was like that. It was for sure pretty rough. But it was like, now you don't see me come back or whatever. It's like, I'm not saying there's only 2 people who I repeat my mouth to. It's like, there's only a couple of that I say. I'm with my friends Anne Marie. Now, if you don't hear me say those names, then you can assume where I'm at. But it's like, even though I'll still say, like, if I'm like going to meet someone, I'll still say that I'm going with coworkers. I'm just going with Anne Marie or something like that. It's like, no, because I am a good girl in her eyes for now. Right. So she doesn't, just but I never had a talk growing up. Because even so, I probably want to run away from it as badly as possible. I didn't even want to talk because, like, I know my sister, when my sister first got her period, right? It was like no hate on her. It was just like the talks were just like not good talks in a way. You know what I mean? It's like talking you don't really want to hear. It's not really encouraging. We're just like like or comforting. You know what I mean? It was kind of just like, you don't want to do this, don't do this at all. It's kind of just like I don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not gonna do that, right? At a young age. I remember it was like, this is off topic too, but it was just like this one time. It's like my sister, right? She got a talk for a period. You know what I mean? So remember, obviously, like I know that I'm reaching that age where it's like I'm soon about to get my period too. So remember when I got my period, I hid it for like almost a month. You know what I mean? It's like I hid it for a very long time. And the only reason why I got caught, was because like no one else was on their period, and it's like where does pad full of blood come from? Who else is living here? My sister who's like younger than me was like, it's not her. So who is it? I'm just like, it's not me. I was trying to hold on to that lie for so long. It's not me. It's not me. I didn't get my period. And it's like, you're on her period. I'm on my period. So it has to be you. I'm like, nope, it's not me. So I remember she took me to the room, she closed the door, she gave me like this talk, and I was just like, damn it. Well, I could have stuck on for a little bit longer. I could have just like thrown it out somewhere else, you know, but like I don't know. There was no talk. I would have for sure just avoided as much as possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just awkward. But would you give your child a talk? I think I will for sure.
Yeah, no, because I feel like I want them to feel comfortable to come to me about any questions or like, especially like when you're exploring and you're not being safe, like I feel like you need a safe space to just ask questions and like speak your
Right.
what's going on. And if you don't find that in family, you may find that in the wrong people,
Leave.
Friends, I think, are a great resource at times, especially when you're first getting introduced to things. But I think I would definitely want them to feel like they could come to me.
Especially
And
because like I don't know, like nowadays there's just not enough like sex ed classes whatsoever. It's like, did you have any growing up?
I definitely had sex ed classes. Like I think from like middle school all the way through high school. Not all the way through high school, but like some of high school, like ninth grade, I think. I took health. So like that was like
Not
my
wait, what grade?
ninth grade, I had health class. And then my high school also did it, but
Not middle school?
no, I had it in middle school too,
I
like
was say it's like
all 3 years.
that's
Yeah.
so late in the game, but like not really. It's like I mean, at any point, it's good too, but it's like like people become really curious even at early stages in like middle school too. You know?
Right. And like it reminds me of like when what's the show come up? Teen Mom. And
Mm-hmm.
like that was a huge thing. And I remember like it was like an epidemic of
Or
people.
it's like 16 and pregnant.
Oh yeah. Like and I'm sure
That was
those ladies,
crazy.
those ladies are like they're much older in their lives right now. Like their kids are like about to be like teenagers and stuff.
Right? They're probably like our age.
It's interesting though, because like I feel like the course of your life changes so drastically. Like everything does shift now that you have a kid. Like, um,
You know, so much
but
to look for. Just
um,
responsibility. Oh, that's a little scary.
it is a little scary. And it's interesting because now, right, like people are not necessarily right now at our age, but like in your later 20s, like people will be in like either long-term relationships or like married and having kids, and it's like those are planned, like
Right.
they want to have them. So it's like it's an interesting shift, right? Like I saw this one TikTok where it was like um like this one guy was talking to his friend and he was like, yeah, like my wife's pregnant or whatever. Or he said no, he said like her name, right? Like some random name like Brenda, right? And he was like, Brenda's pregnant. And then it's so funny because I have a class, someone in my class named Brenda. Sorry, Brenda. I'll use a different name. Olivia. Olivia's pregnant, right? And then he was like, "So what are you gonna do? Y'all gonna get rid of it or something?" He's like, "No,
What?
we planned this, Jonathan." So it's interesting how that's gonna be a shift in our life too, where people were just having kids. Like,
Right? Oh my gosh. Like when you pop a little and band,
oh my
it's
gosh.
like that'd be crazy. But yeah. Remember, people, safe sex. If you don't like the person, I mean, because some people go out there having sex just, like this based off of like attractiveness, but like for me, like I said before, I need something more than that. That's me going, right? But otherwise, practice safe sex, have safe sex. That's the most important thing out here in this world. If you're not
Exactly.
ready for a baby, don't have one. If you don't want to catch anything, protect yourself. Condoms.
Make sure that you're safe because I feel like that's above everything. Because for sure, like your experiences can now become traumatic instead of like, fun little pleasurable things. Like now it has like a drastic, not consequence, but outcome
Mm-hmm.
will really
Impact on
affect
your
you.
life.
Yeah. So like, And especially going into college, like you have to be so careful with just how some people are, and like in the way that like I don't want to use the term if not everyone's comfortable with it, but the R word is like an SA in general happens a lot on college campuses, especially when you're not fully acknowledging that it's SA in the moment. Um, but it happens too much, and like it can result into like violence or whatever. So it's like, especially as women, like be very careful. And like make
Means
sure
no,
that,
guys and girls.
yeah. And also make sure it's a fun time. Like sex is supposed to be fun. Like I don't care what people say, but it should be. And like you should be having a good time. and
Right.
and like obviously it's like you and this person are sharing this experience together. So have fun. And like don't really think too much about what other people have to say. It's about how you choose to view these experiences and how you want to hold them. It can be very serious to you, or it can be something that isn't that serious to you in your life, and that's fine. But make sure that you're choosing what's best for you, because that's most important.
Right.
um
You're just looking at me.
like, you gonna say it? Anyways,
I'm blurry. But okay, guys. Talk to you later.
bye.
Bye.